The number one downside to being attractive is you rely on your looks.
Number two, your self-esteem is fragile.
To keep a girl long term, you need to have that talking. All right. So I want to make this video about the downsides of being attractive. A lot of people think that being attractive is so great, so amazing. There's benefits, but there's definitely trade-offs. So let's go through some of the trade-offs. And I've watched a lot of these videos, and a lot of people talk about the victim side of being attractive. That this happens to you, that happens to you. I also want to talk about the things that you, in a sense, do to yourself. So things that you are actually responsible for that you need to be held accountable for, right? And sometimes you can look at it like, you know what? What else could I have done? Okay, so let's get right into it. Number one of the number one downsides of being attractive is you rely on your looks way too much. How many people you know that one dude in high school, he was the man in high school, got all the girls, blah, blah, blah. And then afterwards, let's say everyone graduated, he lost it all, right? He didn't become anything, he didn't amount to anything. And what happens to people like that are very attractive is they're so used to not having to work hard for anything that they just kind of show up and everyone loves them. You know what I'm saying? Everyone invites them to parties. Everybody wants to hang out. All the girls want to date them. That they don't expect not to have the same level of success afterwards. And they've developed this habit of where they're not a hard worker, they're not a go-getter, they're not a self-starter. So oftentimes I find those guys that were doing really well in high school fall off in, let's say, college, or don't even go to college, or if they do go to college, drop out because they have to actually do the work. You see, what makes you attractive in high school, your looks, let's say your genetics, that only works so long for men. That doesn't last forever. Okay, as you get older and as you graduate from high school and go on to the real world, you start to see that the men that get ahead are the men that are hustling, that have a good focus and good aim in life, that are self starters. And so a lot of men, they rely on their looks way too much, and then it's like they become a one trick pony. Like that's the only thing they got going for them, their looks. And that's one of the unfortunate downsides of it, that people have been boosting you up so much, and all you had to do was just show up. Maybe you had a parent that'll buy you new sneakers all the time, new clothes all the time, so you're super fly. You didn't have any style. Someone else dressed you. Now as you get older, your mom ain't really dressing you anymore. You don't really got that. Your style ain't really that dope. You're not that really creative or unique in any way, and so you kind of have like this learn helplessness to you.
Number two, and it's sort of a continuation of number one, and I'll explain. Number two, your self-esteem is fragile. Okay, now this happens in women more than it happens in men. The kind of men that this happens to are like the really super chads. We're talking about dudes that are arguably a 9 or a 10. Dudes are that damn they're perfect. Your self-esteem becomes fragile because you rely on outside validation. Okay, now I've never had this personal problem. I witnessed other people having this problem. One of the reasons why I never had this problem because when I was growing up, till about the age of 13, I grew up in an all-black neighborhood. And so I was used to getting girls. I was being dark skins an attractive thing. And then I moved. My dad, for whatever reason, I guess he wanted to move to a better neighborhood, decided to move to the suburbs. Okay. And we moved to an all white neighborhood. So boom, I went from being like an attractive, just regular guy, what people expect attractive guy to look like, to being this like outsider, right? I was a good looking dude, but I was an outsider. And so from there, I couldn't rely on outside validation because the dudes that were getting, most of the attention from women were white. I'm just telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? And at first, I wasn't sure if me being black made me unattractive. I was like kind of unsure about it. But I still got some white girls here and there. But that was like the ones that really like black guys, right? Because it's like a niche in the white community. Majority of white girls prefer a white man that they can bring home to their father, okay? And so for me, I had to rely on my internal validation. Okay, I had to remind myself and be conscious of, all right, I'm a good looking guy. My mama calls me handsome. When I'm around black people tend to gravitate to me more. Black girls gravitate to me more than white girls. So I never relied on outside validation. But for a lot of men that grew up in a town, a neighborhood that, they're part of the majority, right? If they're white, everybody's white. If they're Asian, everybody's Asian. If they're Spanish, everybody's Spanish. You start to, if you're really attractive, you start to rely on outside validation. Like, I'll give you an example, and this is for a girl. I knew a girl, very attractive girl, pretty face, slim waist, nice ass, Spanish girl, the whole nine. I remember, like, someone told me a story about her where, like, every time she went to the mall, she would get compliments. Like, every time. Like there was not a day she could go to the mall without someone trying to approach her, hit on her, give her a compliment, the sort. But then he told me there was this one time she went to the mall and not one person approached her, not one person gave her a compliment, and she literally had like a nervous breakdown. She literally thought that something was wrong with her, that now she's ugly, she's unattractive, so that's why this is happening to her. But the reality of it is just, it might have just been that day. Maybe no one wanted to approach her that day. Maybe it was a slow mall day. Who knows? Whatever the reason is, she based her whole self-esteem on compliments and people approaching her, that when it didn't happen, her life was like shattered. And this is what I mean about the dark side of being attractive, is that it could tend to push people towards where they rely on external validation and they never develop the fortitude to validate themselves and seek their own validation. Now, average attractive people, sometimes they get hit on, sometimes they don't. It's a hit or miss. Like, let's say the average girl should go to the mall, and half of the time people give her compliments, another half of the time no one even notices her. Those kind of girls and guys, they develop an internal validation, right? They self-validate themselves.
Now, there's also downsides to being attractive that are other people's fault. Not everything's just your fault. So let's go into times where you're the victim because you're attractive. The one thing I can think of that comes to mind right away is that being attractive, it's a flex for people to reject you. So here's number three. Number three is it's a flex for people to reject you. If a girl rejects you, she could like kind of try to get kudo points from it from other girls. Like, oh yeah, this hot guy, he couldn't get with me. I didn't let him bag me. So, I'm the ish. They feel like, look at me, like I get hot guys too. I knew this one guy I used to go to the gym with, and we're talking about like this fat, black, ugly chick. He was just trying to be friendly with her. He wasn't even trying to bag her. But she bragged to me. I remember she was telling me, she was like, "Oh yeah, this dude tried to hit on me," and I was like, "Nah, you ain't my type." And she was like boasting to me about it. And in my mind, I'm like, "Dude, I didn't say this to her, but I was like, yo, that dude is out of your league, and you're bragging to me that you're too good for him." And this is the delusion that some women have, but they want to feel like they're so desirable, so they'll use you to achieve that. Now, reality of it is that they know they never had a chance, and so they trick their mind into believing that they cut you off before you cut them off. So that's like another one of the biggest downsides to it. Uh, Number four, and I'm walking through my neighborhood right now because it's kind of a nice day. I'm wearing my jacket. It's cold, but it's sunny outside, so I figure I get outside of my house and just talk about this. Um, the number four reason why it's the downside of being like attractive, like the dark side of it being attractive, is that you don't develop your own personality. This is another one that you could take accountability for. Like when it comes to women, personality is like everything. A girl will judge you like, yes, you might get her initially right by your looks, but to keep a girl long term, you need to have that talking. Because women fall in love through their ears. We fall in love through our eyes, but they fall in love through their ears. So yeah, girls are more shallow these days than when I was growing up. But ultimately, most girls are going to prefer a guy that knows how to talk to them. And to develop this, you need to rely on getting girls from your game. But most dudes that are attractive never had to do that. They never developed it. And they never had to like learn how to, you know, talk to a girl, seduce a girl, because most girls are just so down because of the way they look. And this is one of the problems that I personally had. Like, I kind of had game in a way where I know I talked to people, I was social, but when it came to girls, I never knew how to tell girls like, "Yo, do this or do that." Like a lot of girls, one of the games of dealing with girls is like, you need to know how to give girls orders. Like a lot of girls, if you get to the point where you're about to seduce them, you need to start telling them what to do. This is just the truth. You need to start telling them like, "Hey, look, take your pants off, or take your clothes off, or sit over there, or go over there." And if they follow your instructions, they're gonna feel like they're more attracted to you because they're listening to you. This is why a lot of dating coaches would tell dudes like, make a girl do something for you, like a favor, in order to make her like you. And that works because again, she's following your instructions. And a lot of people they rationalize that they won't follow your instructions unless they actually like you. You know. That was number 4. I got a fifth one, and I don't know if I should give you guys this one. Um, but fuck it, I'm gonna give it to you. You know what I'm saying? We've been going on with this for a while, and it is a nice day. Um, Number 5, the downsides to being attractive. The fifth thing, and I think this is probably one of the more important things to being attractive, is that people expect you to be a way that you're not. So people have these expectations of you, like you need to have game, like you need to um, get girls and have experience with women. Like I know a lot of attractive guys are actually nice guys, and so when girls meet them, they're expecting the guy that's like a super player. He knows how to talk to girls. He knows how to seduce girls, and he might just be a guy that just like was always very polite. He had a good mom, and he never was like toxic. And so people like expect you to be like extremely toxic. Like I'm not toxic, but I had to learn to become toxic because I understood that people expected that out of me. And I don't get like completely toxic, but I'm the kind of guy where like if I'm polite to you and you're rude to me and you decide that you just want to keep being rude to me, then I'll be rude to you back. And that rudeness could be just like if I see you and you never say hi to me, you act funny, then I'll just stop saying hi to you. I'll start act funny with you. And a lot of women respect that more, right? And this is what I mean. It's like people have all these expectations of who you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be this player. You're supposed to be someone that knows how to talk to girls and all this other bullshit. And the reality of it is like, why can't you just be you? You know what I'm saying? What if you're just a nice guy? There's no room for that. And this is why girls like bad boys and they expect bad boys to look a certain way. So if you look like a bad boy, you better act like one. And fortunately, if you go through this enough as an attractive guy, you'll start learning that, all right, you got to be kind of selfish. You got to be kind of narcissistic. You still could be a nice guy, but you got to kind of have this like fuck you vibe to you where it's just like, you know what? I could deal with you. And if you don't want to deal with me, then fine. I could deal without you. You know what I'm saying? So to me, overall, being an attractive guy has a lot of pluses. But a lot of the big negatives is just like people expect you to be a certain way. And if you don't live up to their expectation, they're disappointed. Girls expect you to have game. If you don't have game, you're lame. You know what I'm saying? It comes with so much that it takes time for you to kind of grow into your looks. It's not something that you're gonna know how to do overnight. Like I'm 36 now, and I'm like finally at the peak of like understanding how to master being an attractive guy. Actually dressing a certain way. I remember, you know, a girl I was dating had to put me onto the fact that like, yo, why do you wear like underwears are like 4, 5, 6, 7 years old? Your clothes are like your underclothes are dingy. I wear like nice overclothes, but like my underclothes are dingy according to her, which was really offensive to me. But then I realized, like, you know what? I am attractive. I should wear like polo boxers and Versace boxers, you know what I'm saying? And Calvin Klein and stuff because if you look good, you might as well cover your temple nicely as well. And a lot of people don't do that. And so like I said, this is something I started learning later in life, where yeah, that dog scared the shit out of me. Look at that little ass dog barking hard as hell. But I had to learn how to just like, you know what? Fuck it, man. Like it comes with this territory of looking good. I want to feel good anyway, so I'm gonna dress good and you know enjoy the benefits of it. But that's my take on it. I might do another rant about this. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out some of my other videos. I'll talk to you people later. Peace.